The task I want to set you now is to confront the challenge we've got of recruiting great people into this industry. Does this tell me anything about what Insurance Broker does?
Maybe I should have put, a bit more, maybe a few more roles on there.
Why do you use Merv Hughes? I mean, this is aimed at school leavers. I mean, I remember Merv Hughes, I'm almost 40.
I thought this was very clever, actually. The whole notion of climbing ladders is a good idea. What I don't see from here is what insurance broking is. I see some things about insurance. What in here would have attracted you? The advertisement winner is Ashley. Oh, good morning, finalists. The task I'd like to set you today is one that's very important to many brokers. It's in the area of schemes. I want you to broke to me a scheme that interests me, that captivates my imagination. So I want you to use your imagination, all your entrepreneurialism, all your skills, looking for niches, special areas where you have an advantage, where perhaps others aren't already in there. So use those skills and come and broker me a scheme. I'm really interested in your ideas. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Oliver from Heath Crawford, and I am here to pitch to you Premium Style. It is a salon insurance scheme just dedicated to the hairdressing industry. So some facts about the hair salon industry for you that you may not know. In the UK alone, there's 24,000 hairdressers. Last year, 94,000 people completed basically hair courses and took up sort of qualifications within the industry and apprenticeships and so forth. There was 18,000 jobs in the sector last year, so it's clearly a growing industry. That's currently worth 15 billion, so it's got quite a big sort of market and it's worth quite a lot. So specific covers that we'd be looking for within the scheme. The two major ones that I wanted to point out where a lot of the insurers at the moment exclude is the special treatment of hair, the straightening condition treatments and chemical straightening, and also sunbeds. A lot of insurers actually exclude sunbeds because there's obviously sort of claims behind them, but it's something that I would want to look at in terms of sort of putting into the scheme, and obviously making sure that qualified people are sort of, making sure the sunbeds are being used as they are supposed to be.
I haven't heard how the risk will be better through you. Why will risk be better through you? So they have lower claims. Yeah,
I think the risk will be better just due to the actual policy wording and the covers that we're giving within the wording. That's how we would sort of sell the policy as a better policy. So, cover-wise, you're going to get cover for your stock, you're going to get cover for your treatment liability and those sorts of things. So it's difficult to sort of say that the policy is going to be better in one particular area, but obviously one of the things that we would look to do is make sure that the policy wording is giving the absolute best level of cover. One of the other things that we could potentially look to do as well is see if we could build in other commercial products. So maybe throw in something like a directors and officers policy. So if there's more than one director or something, we could sort of build a policy in that way and just give them some other benefits.
When you say throw in, I'm not interested in throwing anything in. I'm not going to make some money on it.
Of course, so. Yeah. But by that, obviously that's going to affect the premium, so we could turn around to someone and say to them that this is the package, but behind the scenes the figures would be that the directors and officers is obviously rated, but from when we're selling it to the client, that would have the rating in there, but we would make sure that the premium is as competitive as it needs to be.
Our scheme is targeted towards the environmentally aware customers, but not necessarily restricted solely to those customers. With the benefits available, the question more is why wouldn't people want to be a part of the unique option that I'm about to propose to you? Why Allianz should back this scheme? And in your brochure as well, it will list these things, but attracting more responsible, forward-thinking and morally aware companies will increase underwriting profits. It's an expanding market. The world is becoming increasingly aware of environmental issues, and companies have an increased awareness of how going green can provide long-term financial benefits. We're expecting higher client conversion rate, which should hopefully sort of reduce our and your costs. Because if people are keen on the green idea, then perhaps they'll buy into this scheme. Our experience as cotters for this scheme and how we think we can make this work. We've got a scheme that's been recently launched through Allianz, so we're already a working partner of yours, and that scheme's running really well. There's a long trading history with Allianz already, so hopefully that further backs up sort of our experience. And Cotter's sales team already predominantly deal with commercial combined policies, and this is targeting manufacturers and the like. And the reason why I tried to think rather than a trade-specific scheme, which my opinion was, why try and reinvent the wheel? There's almost a scheme for everything out there, and this is something that I feel is really quite unique within the market and hasn't been done. And like I say, rather than another golf club or another steel erector scheme, you know, I think this perhaps could stand out. It's perhaps a bit broader than one trade, but maybe that's a good thing as well.
Do you have any statistical validity that people who are gone green or morally correct have a better claims history?
Well, in regards to stats, there's no stat that I have found for that. Although that being said, in America, they are already doing a similar thing and provide discounts for such companies.
So my first question is this a scheme?
I think this is a scheme. Like I say, I want it to be not a trade scheme, but this is a scheme for the environmentally aware person or the person that wants to become more environmentally friendly.
I'm here to ask Allianz to join us in launching a scheme for UK vineyards. There are currently 350 vineyards in the UK, and this number has grown significantly in the 21st century as a result of global change, climate change, and as a result of demand increasing for locally produced produce. When I did some research into what there currently is for this market, there was a broker which outlined that they did do a scheme, but when you looked into it, the scheme was all very standard. It was just like a commercial combined policy. There was nothing on it which really stood out to me. Our scheme would include product recall, pollution and contamination, and would include cyber liability for those retailing online.
I had a look at your map of these vineyards.
Yeah.
I've been to one of those, and that vineyard was quite interesting because it was obviously, it's much more than just a vineyard. It actually has a petting zoo.
Okay.
There's a falconry there. Yeah. There's a restaurant, quite a nice restaurant actually. There's shops.
Yeah.
They sell units. So essentially, it's like a little craft centres as well. It's much more just a. Would your policy cover all that as well? Because this is a lot more than, this is obviously bigger extension of their industry.
I think what we'd have to do is we'd have to look into it, and we'd have to see how many of these have all different types of things, and maybe create more than one scheme depending on what different things they have.
Very interesting that you chose a segment of which we know very little, and clearly not heavily broked. So quite an imaginative view. Do you know if there are any other colours that a vineyard may want? You've come up with, I don't know what else could be in there, but until you've actually spoken to them, you might not know what risks. Like they might have a financial risk if they have to lay down for 10 years. And
I think obviously we'd have to undertake a lot of research before we you know, created a product to check that we capture everything, all the risks that, you know, that they, you know, have.